right. Well, I want to welcome all of our viewers and listeners back to The Launch. I've got a great speaker today, and this one's near and dear to the heart. Not only am I blessed to say that I know this person, but I actually get the chance to work with her on a daily basis, and that is no other than Saeng Bunsy. And she is a realtor extraordinaire, Supermom. But I'll let you kind of give us a breakdown. So what it is exactly. So how give us a head count on the family members.
Well, I have 4 children, married, of course, and then I have 3 fur babies.
3 fur babies. What kind of dogs?
Yorkies. They're all Yorkies. So
Okay.
they have that big dog syndrome. They think they're bigger than everyone else.
It's like the Napoleon complex, they say.
Yes, but they're tiny.
Okay, and then let's give a shout out to the kids because hopefully they're going to be peeking at this. So let's get their names, their
Okay.
ages.
So sometimes it's hard to keep track because I have so many. But Brandon is 16 years old. Marshall is turning 9 on the 24th, so next week.
There we go.
And Peyton will be turning 7, and Natalie just turned 2 a few months ago.
I can't believe that. And when I first met with you, you were pregnant with Natalie, and it was just something you were kind of thinking about when the pregnancy was done and she was here, how you would be maybe getting back into the full swing of real estate.
Yes.
And we won't talk too much real estate, but I do want to let you guys know, for those that don't already know, that Saeng is one hell of a realtor here in the Fresno, Clovis, Madera market. I mean, there's not many places in the greater area she doesn't sell, but it's a little more complex than that. And I'm going to share a little story that is one of the reasons why I felt Saeng would be one of the best people to be on this podcast. As I've always told you guys, the launch is about people that are expanding themselves as you guys are doing the same. Maybe you can get the nuggets that I've been so fortunate to get. So with that, every now and again in the office, I do what's called an agent spotlight. And I asked Saeng maybe a day or two before, and I said, would you mind doing, being one of the speakers for the agent spotlight? That way we can kind of, let people know who you are and get you acclimated to the crew in the office. And do you remember that time?
Yes.
How nervous were you at that time?
I was very nervous because I don't like speaking in public. It's just, I don't like speaking in general, so.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but maybe the public part. And I remember her telling me that, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be great practice. And you kind of break through that wall of public speaking. And as she got going, man, she was in a zone. You were in the zone, right? And I remember looking around, and people were just like engaged in a way that I hadn't seen before, because she was sharing her story in a way that showed vulnerability. It showed just honesty, and you can see the conviction she had, and so that's one of the reasons I was like, man, I love surrounding myself with such strong people, and everybody's got their story, but this is one that started way before you, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Share with us a little bit about where your parents are coming from, or where they're from, and how they got here.
So my parents, they're refugees, and we all came from Laos.
Okay. So were you born in Laos as well?
I was born in a refugee camp in Thailand.
Okay.
So they landed there, and I was born there. We were fortunate to get sponsored from the church.
Okay.
So we came, I think, 1988.
1988?
Yeah, sponsored from the church, and my parents still go to the church.
And how old were you at that time?
Maybe 4-ish.
Maybe 4-ish?
4, yeah, I think 4 or 5.
Any glimpses of memories of what that looked like coming over?
I remember sitting on an airplane. That's just about it. And then
Crazy.
We landed here.
Yeah.
And then just so many relatives, and everything just went by fast, but just a glimpse of everything. Yeah.
Right. So parents decide to make this, big change in their life, and fill us in, and I'm admittedly so, when it comes to the word refugee, obviously there's a connotation behind it, but what was the reasoning, the exact reasoning that they had given you over the course of the years that, hey, it was time to get out of there?
So luckily we had families that already moved here that the church sponsored. And I think they just, pulled a number or say, hey, the next family that's coming through are these families. So we just, somehow we got selected.
So it was like a lottery.
Yes.
But what was one of the reasons why they wanted to come over?
Well, just for the opportunity, for a better life.
Right. And that's the one thing that I remember you saying was the opportunity and the, better life.
Yes.
And I know that you guys had, it sounds like a pretty tough upbringing, or strict,
Very
I should
strict.
say. So from on a scale of 1 to 10, and 10 being most strict, I mean, are we talking 11?
11.
Yeah. And so
Very strict.
And how many brothers and sisters?
It's just my older brother and myself.
Okay, so there's only two of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Man, so you guys, I mean, they couldn't spread it throughout, family members. It was you
No.
and brother.
Well, it was just me.
Ah.
With our culture is a little bit different. The guys has a little bit of leniency as for the female, and the youngest, it's like you're just, the eyes are all on you. It's like
Right.
you're caged up. That's how I felt anyways.
Yeah,
But yeah.
And I know, with everything that's gone on, I remember you telling me, how strict they were. Tell us a little bit about that experience in high school. What did that
Oh.
mean for like going to the regular dances and whatnot?
Okay, so I did not go to any school dance at all. And then
Really?
I did mention that the only dance I went to was, I forgot, maybe like the end of the year school dance or whichever.
Uh-huh.
The only reason why I got to go to that dance was because I was in journalism.
Mm.
And of course, journalism, we created the backdrop for the dance. So,
So
that
did you sneak in a couple dances?
no, my brother was there,
Oh,
and he
brother
was just he
there.
was monitoring me the whole time.
Okay.
So I couldn't do anything. I just sat there pretty
Yeah.
much.
And what'd you think of the music at that time? I mean, were you like, I want to get more involved in this? This
It's
is
like,
fun.
man, this is the type of music my parents said you cannot listen to.
Yeah, you're like, I might have already gone to hell. This is not
Yes,
good.
yes.
So looking back on that experience, how tough was it for you? Like as a kid, you see other people that you want to hang out with, maybe you do hang out with, that are doing certain things that maybe you're restricted from. I mean, what did that instill in you at that time?
Well, it felt like, I don't want to get emotional, but it felt like I didn't fit in because I couldn't go to any event.
Yeah,
School dances, even sports.
right.
I wasn't allowed to play sports. I was only allowed to go to functions that my parents allowed me to, and that was like a Bible study or anything church related. So
Unbelievable.
anything like, a friend's birthday from the school, I was not allowed.
So, and that is frustrating because I can only imagine, I'd say pretty lax parents. They felt like, hey, we're going to give you the freedom because if you ruin it, then,
Yeah.
it was one of those things. But, I just kind of going off of like the experience of that and not fitting in, how did you then feel like you were finding acceptance with your group of friends? If it wasn't necessarily the sports, if it wasn't, the social events, was it in academics? Was it just, where you were growing up and connecting on maybe the more spiritual religious side of things?
Yeah, I felt close to my church friends,
Uh-huh.
but I didn't really feel connected to anyone until a much later age.
Like post high school, college?
Post high school, post first divorce.
Uh-huh.
And then that's when I really felt like I was getting to who I am or who I should be.
Yeah.
So the saying before was just very sheltered, very quiet, didn't even say a word at all.
I couldn't believe that when I first heard that. I was like, there must have been a lot of reprogramming along the way.
Yeah.
And or you were taking some damn good notes all those years of like what you wanted to do when the opportunity presented itself. So now looking back, because obviously I'm sure those things, you necessarily, you harbor them, you don't want to, and you're very close with your parents. Is that correct?
Yes.
I mean, even to this day, that's important to know for anybody out there listening that maybe is parenting and feel like maybe I'm being a little strict and I'm trying to, pull back a little more, but it's hard to find that balance. Or maybe you're somebody that's like, hey, I remember going through those tough times with my parents. And so look back at that. Or what are the things that you did appreciate, maybe that you didn't realize they were looking out for you?
So looking back, I do appreciate the structure.
Yeah.
Like now that I have kids of my own, I have a teenager, and
Yeah.
ranging from a toddler.
Who's
It's
an
like
athlete? Yeah.
Brandon, yes, his schedule's all over the place. So now I see why they are the way they were with me growing up. I mean, now it's like it's a scary place. Like if I think of everything that's going on right now, it's like,
No
what?
doubt.
Now I know why my parents are the way they are.
Right.
And at the same time, when I was growing up, it's like I was so upset with them. I mean, I love them regardless because, I respect them.
Right.
But it's just I felt like I had no one else where I can talk to or just, like really technically no friends.
Yeah.
Because my only friends were my cousins that went to church with me.
Yeah. So, I mean, in them coming over here, did you really, like, when did you start to process the change that they put their life upside down? They took a risk to come over here. When did you realize, like, man, they were really looking out for us, much beyond what we could understand as kids? But when did that really start to hit home with you?
Start to hit home really once I have, my own family.
Right. Okay.
It's like I seen that right away.
Yep.
It's like once you have your kids, it's like, you're thinking of worst case scenario, best case scenario, and just how to raise them.
Yeah.
And I think ever since I've had my first child, it's like I've grown more closer to them, to my parents.
I completely agree with you. I remember after having my first child, I called my mom and I apologized to her. I didn't even say anything. I just said, "Mom, I'm sorry." And she's like, "For what?" I'm like, "For everything." Just because you don't realize how they are trying to protect you. They're trying to isolate you, sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad. So that's awesome that you've recognized that. And what did that, because, for those that are listening or watching, she is a true testament to work ethic, honesty, integrity, all those other, great, words you hear out there. But what word do you feel that you really picked up over the years? Or I should say what, just personality trait from, because I know that you're a hard worker. Did that come from your parents and the sacrifices they made?
Yes. With us coming here to the United States, my dad has always worked.
Mm-hmm.
He got his GED, of course, but then he's always worked 2-3 jobs.
That's awesome.
And that's always been instilled in me. Like, he's a hard worker.
Right.
Like, we don't have much, but he's working for us, for the family.
That's awesome.
So I've always seen that. And then my mom, she's always stayed home because mom just wants to protect Saeng. That's how I saw it. But it's just, just hard work. I got that from my dad.
And then, like you said, the structure. Mom being home, there was some sort of structure to the whole, madness of how come, this, that, and the other. And as we move forward and like, what would, what do your parents think about the way they brought you guys up? Do they say, hey, it's spot on, would have done it the same, knowing what they know now?
They're proud of me. They tell me.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's good. And getting into real estate, and I know that you had many sales jobs before that. What really prompted you to like say, hey, I'm going to put myself out there? Like you said, I don't like the maybe public speaking aspect of it, but that's what you do and you do it well. So at what point did you say, you know what, this is something that I love and that I'm going to do?
So when I first decided on real estate, I told myself, you have to be all in.
Yeah.
If you're not all in, then you're not going to succeed.
No doubt.
So, and I told myself, whatever it is that makes me feel uncomfortable, whether it's the public speaking or just, asking for the business, I have to do it.
Yeah.
And if I'm not good at it, then just keep doing it until I'm better at it.
So getting uncomfortable to get comfortable.
Yes.
And because you use so many like great sales, like you don't even realize it sometimes, but the type of lessons that you go through and that, you implement are that of somebody who's been through extensive training, life training, who's played sports at a high degree on championship teams. So where would you say, or who did you learn all these skills from? Like who were your mentors, or what did you really want to, replicate when you said, this is what I know is going to be the winning recipe, or this is how I know where I need to put myself in order to succeed? Where did that come from?
Well, that's a tough question because I have mentors throughout schools. Yeah. But as for sports, I don't have any mentor. Right. I just take a look at my weaknesses and I just want to have those strengths. So, if you're to ask for mentors, like I see different people like you're a great mentor because, you're a great brokerage. Or my teacher, I'm going to throw your name out there, Mr. Patterson. He's my favorite teacher at an IoT. So I did human resources there. And then Mrs. Harder from McLean Journalism. So it's just not one person. It's just people that bits and pieces that I've picked up throughout the years and something that I've admired from them.
That's awesome.
So like, for example, Mr. Patterson, in HR, he'll make us write sentences. So he'll say something about quid pro quo. What is quid pro quo? You just explain it. You just don't say what it is. You give an explanation. Right. You got to back it up. Yes. Yeah. So they helped you. He helped you add depth to what you were basically trying to. It's like, yeah, that's what it means at face value, but we need you to dig a little deeper. And that's what I think you're really good at. Is you're somebody that has really made us not just take things for face value. You call us on our BS for sure. The joke around here is that she's the enforcer. So even me as a broker, when I'm leading meetings, Saeng will be like, but what about this rule? What about this regulation? And not that she's the whistleblower, but she's going to call you if you're saying you're going to do something, you're not going to do it. So but that's my HR side though. Yeah. Don't do it to that's HR. That's the HR side. So you've been obviously a true student to life, picking up the things that in the places, the people, you've picked up a lot of great things from them.
what is your goal? What are you hoping to teach your children, when they look back, or when you look back in your parents' age? What are you hoping that they take away from what you're bringing to the table?
So my life goal with my kids is to treat others good. So that's their life goal. Like, I just want them to be good people and treat others good.
Good heart.
Also, you have to work hard. Whatever you want in life, it's not going to get handed to you.
Yeah.
Me growing up, nothing was handed to me at all.
Yep.
It's like I worked at the age of 14. The age of 16, I had to pay rent.
And your parents?
Yes. Wow. I have to pay rent. So my son, Brandon, he's very fortunate. He's 16 now. He doesn't have to do that. But because, we're okay.
Right.
I just want to teach them just to work hard. Just work hard and just go after whichever it is that you want and just treat people well.
Yeah. I love if you don't follow Saeng on social media, you have to. It's great. Well, and that's one of the reasons she stood out, because she would like anybody and every single, she always had something positive or honest to say about, a message, a photo. And so, again, going back to keeping it real, but follow her on social media, right? That's awesome. But the one thing that I always pick up is, you and your family, that unit is just rolling tight. It's like your own little, gang and tribe.
It's my squad.
Yeah, that's the squad. Everywhere you go, they go.
Yeah.
They're in the back seat. Everybody's got their smile on, if even for the photo. And we know that there's always more behind the scenes, but I've always appreciated that about you. It's like family is the most important thing. And when the pandemic hit, I know it was like, hey, Brandon, I might have to dial back because my family, we got to figure things out here first, before the business. And I know how important you take your clients. And I was like, hey, I know you'll work it out. And as soon as you said, I'm back in business, it was like her clients start calling her again, to get things going. So let's share some things in the immediate future. What are some of your goals? What are some of the fun things you're hoping to accomplish here in the coming years, the coming days, weeks?
Well, due to the pandemic, there hasn't been anything fun that we've planned, but it's just, just spending time with the family, whether it's just a day at the park.
Yeah. Hawaii?
Yeah.
Is it in the future? Maybe?
That was supposed to be this year, but maybe
sorry,
in the near future. I don't know.
Yeah. Right.
But we're always doing something fun, whether it's bike riding. It's just, I do work a lot. And when I do spend time with the family, even though it's just for a couple of hours, it's fun.
That's
like
good.
We make it fun, we do something fun.
You make it count.
Yes, well, I make them water the garden. It's like, hey, look how fun this can be. The kids Natalie gets involved, and we do the bike riding after dinner.
So she's riding a bike already?
Well, yeah, she sits in front of me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not Manoy. Okay, so let's kind of, as we start to wrap this thing up, I really want there to be some content that people can pull out there. One day, kind of go back. Obviously, you said as a parent what your goals, your objectives are, what you've learned and taken away from your parents, and obviously you've made them proud in what you do. You've got some goals around here that I know. Let me tell you, when she has a goal and it's in writing, it's going to get accomplished. What message do you want to send to people out there about being a working mother, having multiple children, being somebody that can step up to the challenge? Because there are a lot of different cultural thoughts and philosophies on how that should run, and you definitely have broken away from some even of what you talked about because your mom was at home. So what message do you want to get across, saying, hey, this is a woman, this is hear me roar type deal, but I'll let you say the story.
I mean, I would just say, just don't give up. Everything that I'm doing now, it goes against what my parents felt like I should do. Yeah. Like, hey, don't get into sales. It's too risky. Just sit at a comfortable job and just do the 8 to 5. And I said, you know what? It's like, that's not me. It's like, this is what I want to do. And I've shared that story before too. Like, if I don't make a certain number of, sales within my 5 years, like, I'll quit. Yeah. But fortunately, I'm still here. So I made the quota.
So, the quota's been met.
Yeah. And the thing it's there's so many components to be, a wife, a mother, a daughter, which, I still help take care of my parents too. So there's some things they need help with. I do that. There's times I feel overwhelmed, but at the same time, it's like, I feel like I'm blessed because I'm in a good position. I have a job. I have a good job. I have the flexibility to, hang out with my kids if I want, or, schedule my own time. Yeah. So what I want to say is just, just don't give up. I mean, everyone has their struggles, but you're not alone.
Yeah.
It's like I know I have my struggles, I'll admit it, and then I just find someone or a comfort zone where I can just talk to someone, or just just be me, or just relax. And then there's nothing wrong with sharing with others how you're feeling,
That's true.
because sometimes the other person might need someone to talk to too.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've been talking to other moms too, and we go through our struggles. We know it's like we have to cook for the kids, we work, we help them with homework and everything. So
Yeah.
it's just don't give up, and just find someone that you can just talk to. Find a mom group. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's helped me keep sane.
Yeah. Saeng has to stay sane. And let me tell you, she does it through communicating with others. And again, she walks in and she's somebody that just brings in a lot of energy without having to be over the top, because you just know she means business. It's like, I think dust on the floor moves out of the way, and that's the type of person you want to be. It's somebody of conviction, somebody that works hard, and somebody that's passionate and has a big why. And we all know, without even telling us what that why is, and that is just family. So want to thank you again for your time,
Thank
for
you.
jumping on. And if you guys have not already, like I said, follow Saeng. Great information that you'll find online. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you guys next
Thank
go
you.
around. Bye bye now.